Good morning, students. Today we will be solving some numerical problems in chapter 5, electromagnetic induction and alternating currents. Only those problems in which you have raised doubts will be discussed here. So this is one question from the textbook. Question number 540. Salma connected an electric heater of resistance 100 ohms with an AC source of amplitude 160 volt and frequency 50 Hz. Afterwards, Najma connected the heater with 120 volt DC source. Question A. Find the mean voltage of the AC source. And question B. With which connection the heater will be more effective. So here we can first solve question A. The question asks, find the mean voltage of the AC source. So we know that the mean voltage or mean EMF, if we take for a full cycle, it will be 0. So we will have to consider the mean voltage for a half cycle. What is the formula for mean voltage for half cycle? Mean EMF or mean voltage is equal to 2 by pi E0, where E0 is the peak voltage. So let us see in the question whether they have given the peak voltage. Salma connected an electric heater of resistance with an AC source of amplitude 160 volt. Amplitude means peak. So we can take peak voltage E0 as equal to 160 volt. So we will get bar is equal to 2 times 160 divided by pi. And when you solve that, you will get the answer as equal to 101.92. 101.92 voltage. So this is the mean voltage. That is for part A. Now let us solve part B. With which connection the heater will be more effective. So first of all, let us find what will be the heat generated per second, which is nothing but power generated in the case of Salma, and what will be the power generated in the case of Najma. And we will have to compare those two powers. So what is the amount of heat produced when current flows through a circuit? We have learned that in the heating effect of current by Joule's law, we know that the amount of heat produced when current I flows through a resistance R for a time T is H is equal to I square RT. Now, power means energy per time or heat energy per time. So I can take it as this quantity divided by time. So it will be I square R, where T is the time. Now let us consider each case. First let me consider Salma's case. So case 1, Salma. So first we are considering Salma's case. Salma connected an electric heater of resistance 100 ohms. So they have given resistance R is equal to 100 ohms. With an AC source of amplitude 160 volt. So the amplitude of the AC source or the peak value of voltage is equal to 160 volt. And frequency 50 Hz. So they have given frequency F is equal to 50 Hz. Now this is AC source. So how can we write the power? Power will be equal to I square R, but instead of current we will take the RMS value of current. So instead of I am going to put IRMS square times resistance. And we know that IRMS is equal to peak value of current divided by root 2. So instead of IRMS, I am going to put IRMS is equal to I naught by root 2. So I will get I naught square divided by root 2 square will be 2 times R. Again, is the peak value of voltage current given? No. Only the peak value of voltage is given and we have resistance. But we know that current is equal to voltage by resistance. So I can write this as equal to, instead of I naught, I am going to write E naught divided by R. So I naught square will become E naught square divided by R square. There is a R in the numerator and 2 down here. So 1 R gets cancelled. So all the quantities we know E naught and we know R. So we can directly substitute these values. So this is equal to, what is E naught? 160. 160 square divided by 2. 2 times, what is the resistance? 100. So we don't need frequency here. So when we substitute all these values, we will get the value as equal to 128 watts. You do the calculation by yourself and check whether this is correct. Okay. Now this is the case for Selma. Now let us find the case for Najma. For Najma connected the heater with 120 volt DC source. So she connected with DC. So we can directly use the formula P is equal to I square R. And again here it is DC. So no need to consider any peak value or mean value. And we know that current is equal to voltage by resistance. So I am going to use, instead of I is equal to V by R. And this will become V square by R times R. So I square. So V square by R square times R. So 1 R gets cancelled. This is equal to voltage. DC voltage is given as 120. So 120 square divided by, what is the resistance? They are using the same heater. So the resistance of the heater, that is 100. 100 is equal to, you will get this as 144 watts. So here we got for Najma, the power converted to heat is 128 watts. While for Najma's case, the power converted to heat is 144 watts. So for Najma's way, more power is converted to heat. So it is more effective method for using the heater. So Najma's way of connection will be more effective than that of Selma because it converts more amount of power to heat energy. I hope this solution is clear to you. And let's see the next one. Now, question number 515, again from textbook, says that in a physics laboratory, the teacher kept 3 coils, each of 500 turns perpendicularly with a magnetic field of 5 Tesla. Of the 3 coils, the first one is circular with radius 5 centimeter. The second one is rectangular with area of cross section 10 centimeter square. And the third one is square with area of cross section 45 centimeter square. The second and third coils are removed from the field in 0.5 seconds. What is the flux linked with the first coil? And B, give comparative analysis of the induced EMF of the 3 coils. So let us try to solve this question. Question A, what is the flux linked with the first coil? So we need to know the equation to find magnetic flux of a coil. What is the magnetic flux of a coil? Phi is equal to A dot B or B dot A. Okay, and now if there are n turns for the coil, we will have to consider n times B dot A. So for the first coil, so I am writing it as phi 1 is equal to n B dot A, or this is equal to n B A cos theta. Okay. So in a physics laboratory, the teacher kept 3 coils each of 500 turns. So they have given n is equal to 500 turns. Perpendicular with the magnetic field of 5 Tesla, we can get 2 information from this statement. One is that the magnetic field B is equal to 5 Tesla. Then perpendicular with the magnetic field. So we know that the plane of coil has an area whose magnitude is equal to the area, surface area or the area of cross section, and the direction of the area vector will be always taken perpendicular to it. So if this is the plane and the magnetic field is in this direction and it is kept, the plane is kept perpendicular to the magnetic field. Perpendicular to the magnetic field. So when you take the area vector, its direction is also perpendicular to the plane of the coil. So both the magnetic field and the area vector are in the same direction. So we can take the angle between them as 0 because they are in the same direction. So theta is equal to 0. That is also implied by the statement. Theta is equal to 0, which means cos theta will be equal to 1. Cos 0 is 1. Now what we require is area. A is equal to, of the 3 coils, the first coil. We are now finding the flux linked with the first coil. So first coil is circular with radius 5 centimeter. So instead of area, they have given the radius, but we know how to find the area if we know the radius, right? What is the area of a circle? Area of a circle is pi r square, and r is given as 5 centimeter. Can we directly use this in the formula? No. Why? Centimeter. We have to use the SI unit, which is meters. So we will have to convert this into meters. 5 centimeter is equal to how much meters? We have to divide it with 100. So this is equal to 0.05 meters. So let me substitute all these values in this expression. So I will get it as phi 1 is equal to, n is 500. 500 times B is 5 Tesla. 5 times area. A is pi r square. Pi times radius is 0.05 square. Pi r square. Times cos theta. Cos theta is 1. So times 1. So when you solve this, you will get the answer as equal to, let me check the answer. It is 19.625 Weber. So you will get it as 19.625 Weber. Weber is the unit of magnetic flux. So I hope this is clear to you. Only one difference is that instead of area of cross section, they have given the radius. So we can find the area in this way and substitute. Also remember that if there are more turns, you have to use that n. For a single turn, we have learned that the flux is equal to B dot A. But there are n number of turns, you have to use this formula. That's all. Now, let us consider question B. Give a comparative analysis of the induced EMF of the 3 coils. So, maybe I am not rubbing this number. Let me see whether we will require the flux linked with the first coil. So, I am just putting here phi 1 is equal to this quantity. If we require that, we will use, otherwise I will rub. So, here we have to compare the induced EMF of 3 coils. So, what we will do? We will find the EMF induced in coil 1, coil 2 and coil 3. So, first of all, let me consider coil 1. Coil 1 is our circular coil whose flux we have found here. Now, how can we find the induced EMF? By Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, we know that the induced EMF E is equal to minus N d phi by dt, where N is the number of turns. If we have already used N in finding the total flux, no need to use N again here. And d phi is the change in magnetic flux and dt is the time interval in which it occurs. So, let us check the case. So, of the 3 coils, the first one is circular with a radius 5 cm. The second one is rectangular with area of cross section 10 cm square. And the third one is square with area of cross section 45 cm square. Fine. The second and third coils are removed from the field in 0.5 seconds. Note, only the second and third coils are removed. So, the first coil remains there. So, is there a change in magnetic flux linked with the first coil? No, because it is remaining there in the magnetic field. Only if there is a change in magnetic field, a EMF is induced. So, there is no change in magnetic flux linked with the first coil, or you can tell that d phi 1 is equal to 0. There is no change in magnetic flux linked with the first coil. Therefore, EMF induced in the first coil is equal to 0. So, for coil 1, the induced EMF is equal to 0. So, we got E1 is equal to 0. Now, let us see what are the induced EMFs in the second and third coils. So, we don't need this value. I am going to rub them. Okay. Now, let us consider coil 2. So, the first is circular. The second one is rectangular with area of cross section 10 cm square. So, the area of cross section for the second coil is given as equal to 10 cm square. Can we use this as such? No. We will have to convert the centimeter square to meter square because meter is a SI unit. So, how will we convert? 1 centimeter we know is equal to 10 raised to minus 2 meter, that is divided by 100. Now, when you square, when you want to find the case of centimeter square, square on both sides. So, 1 square is 1. Centimeter square is equal to 10 raised to minus 4 because 10 raised to minus 2 square is 10 raised to minus 4 meter square. So, I can write this as equal to 10 times 10 raised to minus 4 meter square. So, the area of the second coil, which I would like to represent as A2, is equal to 10 times 10 raised to minus 4 meter square. And, okay, they are removed from the field in 0.5 seconds. So, the time change is equal to 0.5 seconds. Now, all the coils have, each of them have turns 500. So, all the coils will have turns 500. So, we can take number of turns is equal to 500. We are trying to put that in this equation. Now, what we require is d phi, the change in flux. So, we can consider the change in flux as equal to the final flux minus initial flux. What is the final flux? The coil is taken away from the magnetic field. So, there is no magnetic field around it, or the magnetic flux linked with the coil will be 0, because B is equal to 0 once it is removed from the field. So, we can put the final flux as equal to 0 minus, what is the initial flux? Initial flux is equal to B dot A. So, let me put it as B times A2, because we are dealing with the second coil. Magnetic field B is the same for all three, 5 Tesla. A2, and all of them are kept perpendicular. So, what happens? Theta will be equal to 0 and cos theta will be 1. So, I can directly take it as BA2. So, this is equal to 0 minus 5 times, what is the area? 10 into 10 raised to minus 4 meters square. So, I will get d phi is equal to, there is a negative sign here. So, 5 times 10 is 50. 50 times 10 raised to minus 4 meters square. Therefore, putting all these values in the equation to find EMF for the second coil, EMF for the second coil is equal to minus N d phi by dt. This is equal to minus N is 500 times d phi is equal to 50 times 10 raised to minus 4. 50 times 10 raised to minus 4 divided by dt. dt is 0.5 seconds. 0.5. So, you will get the value as the EMF of the second coil. Let me see the calculation. Okay, it will be minus 5 volt. There will be a negative sign here. Okay, I forgot to put the minus here. There will be a minus. So, minus times minus, it will be plus. So, plus 5 volt. Because 500 turns, minus 50 times 10 raised to minus 4 and divided by 0.5. I hope this is clear to you. So, the EMF induced in the second coil is equal to 5 volt. Okay. Now, I will keep these values. E1 is equal to 0 volt because we have to compare them finally. And E2 is equal to 5 volts. And let us find the case for third coil. What is the EMF induced in the third coil? So, I am going to rub all this. We have the required values there. So, the EMF induced in the third coil. So, coil 3. For coil 3, we have the same number of turns, N is equal to 500, and we have the same magnetic field, B is equal to 5 Tesla, and the third one is square with area of cross section 45 centimeters square. So, they have given the area of cross section A is equal to 45 centimeters square. We saw in the previous one that centimeter square can be converted to meter square by multiplying with 10 raised to minus 4. So, this is equal to 45 times 10 raised to minus 4 meters square. And then dt, the time interval is same. because second and third coils are removed from the field in 0.5 seconds. So the time interval where there is a change in flux is the same, 0.5 seconds. Okay. Now we will have to find d phi. D phi for the third coil, d phi 3 is equal to final flux minus initial flux. Just as we told in the case of the second coil, the final flux will be 0 because the coil is taken out of the magnetic field. So I can put phi, d phi. Instead of that, phi 3 is final flux is equal to 0 and initial flux is equal to, for a single turn, we are taking the case of single turn because we will be using N in the formula for EMF. So for a single turn, the initial flux is equal to B dot A, which is again BA, because the plane is perpendicular to the magnetic field. Angle between the area vector and magnetic field will be 0, cos 0 is 1. So I am just writing it as BA, and this is equal to 5 times, what is area? 45 times 10 raised to minus 4. So again substituting these values in the equation, we will get the EMF produced in the third coil is equal to minus N d phi by dt, which is equal to minus times 500 times d phi is equal to final flux minus initial flux. Final flux is 0. 0 minus this quantity, so it will be minus 5 times 45 times 10 raised to minus 4. We got a minus sign here because it is 0 minus this value. Now dt is equal to 0.5 seconds. So if we substitute all these values, we will get the final value as equal to, let me see the calculation, you can do it for yourself. It will be 22.5 volt. Minus times minus will get cancelled. So we got these three values. So just if we are analyzing or comparing these values, you can finally write E1 is to E2 is to E3 is equal to 0 is to 5 is to 22.5. So this is the solution for the B part. It's a comparative analysis of the induced EMF of the three coils. I hope this solution is clear to you. If you have any